Okay, let's just roughhouse the fucking son of a bitch, right? Let's do that. Jolt is a Dark of the Moon mold that I actually really enjoyed, but we've been given a better deco by those great Japanese people. As you can tell by the AD14 and the kanji on the packaging there. One of the little nitpicks I have is that I probably would have never noticed is that on that artwork he has a beautiful red Autobot symbol, and unfortunately on the bot it is a silver one, which I've never really enjoyed. In certain decos, yeah, it works. On this guy, I think the red would have popped and looked real nice. Let's get rid of the packaging for the most part. That's not too important. I'll show you the bio because obviously this is something that you cannot get, in stores in North America, but you could easily find a way to get these online. There's his bio if that's important to you. You're not going to see too much different except for the kanji and the available options there, which are, again, an exclusive to Japan and Takara. Let me get the camera down, get it on Jolt here. Jolt's, like I said, he's a mold I've always enjoyed. He's much better decoed right now. I did make a couple paint apps to him. I probably should have waited till after I reviewed him. But for the most part, it's basically I put some black on that carbon fiber texture there, and that was because that texture, even though it was blue, they left it blue. I had to paint it black because it would match the texture on the roof. I understand that the deco from the movie didn't have him with a black hood on the car, but it just eked me, and I had to paint it. Overall, though, he's a great looking bot. He has some unusual little quirks. His head is quite easy to remove, which I will attempt not to do. And he has some unusual articulation in the arms. Let's go through that. For example, if I use the arm right here, I cannot bend it up whatsoever. But you can cheat to get an arm bend. So as long as it can pose, I don't mind. But you basically have to bend things around to get the angles that you want. Another little quirk of this is the new weapons, which I'm just going to remove for the moment while we look at the articulation. So you just have the swivel. You have a ball joint at the shoulder. You have a hinge under that. You have a swivel just above the elbow. You have another swivel above the elbow, which is how you can cheat the bend. And that's all you have. And then you have these weird little things that I believe can hold C-clip devices, but I'm not sure exactly what they're for. You have ball joints at the hips. I must say, while I'm talking about this, the tension of the mold is still really good. So that impresses me. I was worried that, this might loosen up because it's kind of set up with all the swivels that, and the pins that it could loosen up after the mold's used a while, but it's been so good so far. You technically have a double jointed knee, and you can really ream it back however you might need it to be. You have a swivel above that knee, and in the foot you have a heel that can move, and the foot can also move. So you can really do what you need to balance. The fun thing though is, and a lot of people aren't aware of it, is there are little pin placements, including the wheel, that are supposed to hold to a point so that he does stand stably. The thing is, there's enough tension in those joints that really you can cheat those pin locations and he will still stand really well. So, just to get it out of the way, I want to do a couple quick comparisons. Here he is with his counterpart, and you could see where even though you could customize him to try to look a little more screen accurate, he really is just a gray piece of plastic for the most part. He does have the same or similar, sorry, turquoise accents, but that gray plastic just eats me up. Even if he was in the Dark of the Moon movie, he would never take on a form this dull. So, it was either paint the heck out of him or grab AD14 there. So, that's what he looks like. If you want to see him with the guy who most likely killed him, there he is there. That's my custom lockdown, who's actually taller. Check out my videos. He's actually taller. So there's Jolt with Ironhide and Dino. Dino's another Takara exclusive. He's also a repaint, but with a new head sculpt and some retooling. Whereas Jolt only has the new weapons. And that's obviously just the Voyager Ironhide from movie 1. With just a touch of paint on parts. I'm still working on him. But that's what he looks like with those guys. Let's get them out of here. And we'll start looking at transformation. Transformation is fun. I really like transformation on this guy. All you really have to do is what I do is I loosen up these little bumper sections and unpeg the chest. That allows this bumper to come forward so that you can put the head back in. So now I move all this stuff down. Now I know that on the original mold it was a little tough to get these around that waist section, and that was mostly because these seem tighter. I think that's the only thing that's really loosened up on this mold. Or maybe someone took a look at it and said, oh man, we could improve that. But as of now, it's no issue whatsoever. Then let's work on the feet. You can unlock the wheel and flip them around. Slide up the hood. The legs are a bit of a tricky part. What you basically want to do is get this post into under the bumper there. It can take a little touch of force. Once that gets in, the knees will accordion so that the windshield meets up with the other piece of the windshield. Just like that. Then you tab the hood section together. Bring the roof panels down under the windshield. And then move up the entirety of these door pieces so that they lock in just under here on both sides. And then slide in the door panels so that they connect with each other. Now with the arms, it's a fairly simple process, but I have a little trick at the end that might help as well. All you want to do is pull them in so that they come into the car. And while leaving that shoulder in its position, flip the hand up. And you can see how I'm not forcing that in. Let me do the same here on this side. Bring that in and flip that up. Now, that's what you need from your bot. Now, a lot of people want to force these in, and they can go in a decent amount. But if you force these in, it breaks up the vehicle. And will even push out the side panels occasionally as well. So what you truly want is just to even them out and not push them in too deep. They will sit below the wheels, and they will stay out of the way of your rolling space. So the main trick is to try not to force those in. And that's all you need to do to transform Jolt. So Jolt turns into a Volt, obviously. He's a nice looking vehicle. The main thing that I did with the paint was this hood section was blue. And just like the Dark of the Moon figure, they didn't paint the peg holes that allow you to store the weapons. Obviously, the weapons in or for the other mold were the Dark of the Moon MechTech weapons. You can do that. Looks a little nutty, that's for sure. It's up to you. You could call these spearish if you would, but they barely passed the hood of the car. But I think just the color deco is great. You know, they painted a lot of things. They didn't paint the Chevy symbol on the plate. But other than that, you know, you got rims and all kinds of stuff. And like I said, I just painted that hood because I wanted to match the carbon fiber on the top. So it's just eating me a little bit. But a great little mold. Let's compare them to some other bots. We have Dark of the Moon Sideswipe here. I did, this is actually another Takara figure, but unfortunately Takara in this one did not go for paint. They were pretty lazy. I believe he was DA08. So I did paint him silver, but that's a Dark of the Moon Sideswipe. Who actually, those two look great together. And I'll also get in one other guy, and that guy is probably one of the tiniest Voyagers, and this is, again, just to give you a Voyager scaling. But that's Hound, the Autobots United Hound. That's why you see a little bit more paint app on him. But he's a very disappointingly small Voyager. Nice looking and fun to transform, but man, is he small. Let's get rid of those guys. I also just want to compare him to the original Jolt. Here he is with the original Dark of the Moon Jolt. You can see that there's just a ton of gray plastic on him. The rims aren't painted. They did use the clear parts for the headlamps, which I thought was cool. There is some black paint on the windows here, which there are also over there. The really annoying part with this guy is that the silver that they had to paint on the clear plastic is nowhere near the gray plastic. And obviously the fact that he's nowhere near movie accurate whatsoever. The tail sections are almost identical. But you could see, you know, that it would have been a lot of work to paint him up. And it's a good mold. I think there was one dude who said it wasn't a good mold, but it's a good mold. Again, I did paint the top buttons. It was blue buttons on here and then the gray on here. Why these never got painted, how you could not just run them through the spray painter Takara Hasbro, I have no idea. Here, let me just get the weapons in, see which ones are more egregious. I think they both are. But even so, I mean, that's not the worst MechTech weapon, but that still looks better. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Don't blow it, Ironhide. You're blowing my video, Ironhide.